recorded. To accept the minutes from the August 13th, 2020 Township Board meeting. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Carried. You've got minutes from the, approved minutes from the August 5th and August 26th Planning Commission meeting minutes. Any comments, John?
No, they've been approved by the planning commission, so.
Okay. No minutes from the appeals board. Anyone with anything to bring before the board at this time? Gary?
I don't know if this is time for what, you got public comment? I know typically at the end, but I would like to bring up a situation in regards to short-term rentals in the township. And if your township zoning ordinance does not permit short-term rentals, and to be considered a long-term rental, it needs to be a month or more. So I want to know who is against not enforcing their zoning ordinance. Who's not going to enforce the Manistee Township zoning ordinance?
Well, all I can tell you is I asked the zoning, or the planning commission to revisit that issue.
But
They-
it doesn't-
They've done that.
Yeah, okay, and,
Are you gonna let me give an update? or-
yes, please.
Karen, can you shed some light on that subject, please?
I can. At the last zoning, or at the last planning commission meeting, the commission members did revisit that, John, and they unanimously agreed to draft a letter to any property owner that is doing a short-term rental within the township. They're going to draft a letter and send along the noise ordinance and a copy of the parking requirements as well.
That does not still address the short-term rental part of it. And according to the state Supreme Court, which they upheld a lower court that any short-term rental in a residential district is not permitted. It is acting as a hotel in that district. Hotels in Manistee Township are only permitted in the C1 district, only under a special use. So what do you say to that? I guess are we going to make our residential areas commercial?
Many of the issues, I live next to a rental, a short-term rental, and I personally have had many issues with them. And many of the issues that I have encountered are covered under our noise ordinance, and that is policed by our sheriff's department.
Okay, how many are we going to permit in our specific residential areas that are going to be commercial now? If you have a zoning ordinance and you're not enforcing that, then the rest of your ordinance, as far as I'm concerned, is null and void. This is an important part of that ordinance. So why, I look at the planning, and you look at it this way. The people that are serving on that are serving their own self-interest. They are not serving us, their constituents. John, I know you live in the middle of nowhere, on a nice farm. You don't see that next door to you. I see it down the street. I see it with the traffic. I have a young kid that lives across the street. There's 3 young children there. And just last week, I just saw him. There was a ball ran out into the street, just rolled out there. He ran right after it, not looking. These people that are coming in here it's a commercial use of the properties. And they're coming in here to party. They're coming in here to have a good old time because you will not enforce your zoning ordinance. Why won't you enforce it?
Gary, I don't know,
The state Supreme Court says it's It's a motel. It is not a single-family residential use of the property. I got pictures of cars parked there. It's a big parking lot, and it's on the streets too. You wanna see those? I'll get them out.
No, I don't wanna
I got
see
them here.
Because I go through there several times.
No, but you don't see them when I see them. I see
Oh,
them
well,
I
they must change when I go through.
I see them right down my front, out of my window, I see it. So I'm there 27/4 almost. I get to, or 24/7. So I'm there, I see it happening.
Gary, like Karen had said a moment ago, all the issues that you have brought here before us, here or the planning commission, is addressed in the zoning, and we already have.
Okay,
We got the parking, we got the health department takes care of the sewage that you was concerned about. You just mentioned a little child chasing a ball can happen anywhere at any time.
John, your ordinance says it is not permitted. There's nowhere in that ordinance that says short-term rentals are permitted in the Manistee Township zoning ordinance. No place. And if it's not in there, it's not permitted. Enforce your zoning ordinance.
Okay,
Will you do that, Dennis?
well, I'll do the best I can, Gary.
Okay. All right. John, will you enforce your zoning ordinance?
Well, I personally
it's
do
an
not
ordinance, right?
enforce it.
Well,
And
you
I
have a
also
say so.
am not an attorney, Gary, but it sounds like you're getting close to being one.
John, I've been in real estate probably longer than you have.
Yeah,
I'm also broke.
I've never-
All right,
Okay?
point of order.
Okay, yes.
We will address this as the planning commission. I've asked them to revisit it. They're going to revisit it. They are working on it. And as you know, things don't happen overnight, but they are working on it. Mr. Anderson, I spoke with Mr. Anderson, who is the chairman of the planning commission, and he suggested some different options that can be addressed or can be approached. He said they're going to pursue that, and I'm confident that they will.
Okay. Well, I do know that the one property that's in our neighborhood is advertising a private beach of 1,200 square feet.
They're also advertising Sleep 17, and they can't do that anymore.
They're advertising 15, I think, on that one. The other one is 12, but still. Yeah. Yes. But, you know, when you look at that, because I've asked John that, oh, if there's sleeping 15 people, isn't that like a motel? And he said, yes. Then he changed his mind, because he knows that he's wrong on this, see? So, all right, thank you. Thank you.
And I'll keep you addressed as to what the progress is being made.
All right, thank you, Dennis.
Yes, ma'am.
I just moved here a couple years ago. I used to live in Stronach Township. And I know these tickets, because I worked in district court as well, where all the ordinance tickets float through. They had a house where a guy was selling stuff, and that was a commercial business. The zoning administrator went after that, and it was shut down. And then there was another house farther down from our house on Stronach Road that had been made into an apartment house. They sent an ordinance ticket, that was shut down. So why the heck can we not do that in this case? Do the ordinances, send the ticket, send the citation.
Thank you.
I happen to live on the corner of Marlon and Surfside. That's a pretty darn good view of at least one of the houses. The one that's owned by Chris, is his last name. It's on Surfside Drive. And they have, this past week, they've had 4 large Dodge Ram pickup trucks for about a week there. And we watched them all leave at the end of the week, and tonight there's 3 more cars there. I expect there'll probably be a few more before the weekend really gets underway. But we see this repeatedly. And we only have one little access there. It's only 66 feet wide. It's a continuation of Marlon Street. Well, it may not mean very much right now because the condition of the lake being so high, it's ruined the beach. But these people when they're there, and I've been in this spot for 14 years. Come down, the neighbors who use that small access can be there, but then all these other people show up, and it gets pretty crowded down there. It's really a kind of an infrastructure problem as well as the noise and other problems that have been brought up here. I think there should be a way of, when this, these people are actually just laughing at you guys, I'll be honest with you. They know they're not supposed to do this, and they're doing it. Yeah, we've written letters to them before, they just disregarded them totally. There has to be some teeth put into this somewhere along the line. And I don't know how to do that. How are we supposed to do that?
You're doing it now.
Pardon me?
You're doing it now.
Yeah, they're doing it right now, and it's kind of, I think it's got to be embarrassing to the township to not be doing anything about it. All around you, you've got other municipalities that are coming up with ordinances and so on. These people are, for instance, this one sleeps 15 in 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Well, if those people show up, that's 27, that could be as much as 27 additional people. That's if they're following what they're advertising. But sometimes we see an extra motorhome parked in there, in addition. I mean, it swells the size of the neighborhood. So I think, it's really time to do something about this. We've waited, we've watched it, we've lived with it, and frankly, we're all getting kind of tired of it. So I'd appreciate whatever can be done.
All right, sir. Thank you. You have something, Jim?
Yes, sir. Since we're on the zoning issue, I think that these people don't understand that Manistee Township has been enforcing their zoning, but they've been selectively doing it. They've been going after who they wanted to go after. In the cases that are hard or maybe they don't want to deal with, they look away the other way. Is that correct?
Thanks for the vote of confidence, Jim. Appreciate it.
Well, I've
No,
talked,
that's fine. Go ahead. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. You go right ahead.
I've talked to you and I've talked to the zoning administrator about the junkyard that I live next to. I see motor homes next door to my home that haven't been moved in 10 years probably. Campers where the roofs have fallen in. Rows of junk cars.
Or was,
How many
I don't know.
years has that been going on?
it's obvious that it hasn't been completed, but there was some changes made, wasn't there?
What were they?
Or-
Where? Tell me what they were.
I don't know. I don't know that.
You're the guy who said changes were made. What were they?
Is this on Chippewa Highway?
Yes, it is.
Not right next to the, I want to call it the castle, but I'm
Yep.
not sure.
Next
Jim's
door,
house. Jim's house.
I believe that
Next
that
door.
has been cleaned up.
north, south, across the street.
There has been progress that has been made on that.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Is there more progress going to be made?
I believe so, yes.
You know, what the answer is, the township cannot selectively enforce zoning. If you have a zoning ordinance, you have to enforce everything in that zoning ordinance. What happens is, by not enforcing that zoning, you're reducing people's property values on their homes and their property. Whether it's a junkyard next to me or a rental house next to their home, that reduces their property value. Well, at some point, when their property values get reduced enough, where it really pisses them off, they're going to get an attorney and they're going to go after the township. And that's going to happen. That's all I can say.
Is that a threat, Jim?
Pardon me?
Is that a threat?
That's not a threat.
Okay.
That's the ultimate action that could happen if nothing is done. I don't threaten people, Dennis, you know that.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Berquist, it is okay that I talk, right?
Yes.
I did give you a phone call. I have a letter here to present you with just the concerns that we have with the 4 easements on Lake Shore Road. What they're intended for the preservation of the trees, the beach grass, The wildlife, not all 4 easements have been used in that fashion. The one that is directly across from 3445 Lakeshore Road has been widened and trees taken down, which you and I have discussed. I just want to say that I'd like to see these remain and preserved for foot traffic only. And people to enjoy them when our beach comes back. So, can I walk up and
Sure,
present this
sure.
to you?
A point of interest would be that there is no equipment going to go across that easement. And arrangements have been made to go across private property.
Okay.
So the concern that you voiced earlier has been taken care of.
Okay, and I also said just, and maybe it's a maybe, I'm not here to, this is my first meeting, that because that easement has been widened now and the trees have been taken down, where it used to be just a small footpath, that it may need a winter fence of some kind, because I know it's going to drift across Lakeshore Road. So that's something that I wanted to bring to your attention also.
Yes,
So,
you did.
okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you, Mr. Burquist.
Anyone else? Yes, sir?
I'm Matt McShane again. I came in July and talked to you about the ORV ordinance in Manistee Township. Wondering what the progress was. I've been going to some strong township meetings. The good news is they passed it to the planning last night at the board meeting, due to the fact that one of the members didn't have this in front of him and didn't get a chance to read it. They did not vote on it last night. So they're going to vote on it next month to either pass it or not pass it. I'm just wondering what the progress was.
We have a sample ordinance that's been drafted by our attorney. Each member has a copy of that ordinance, and it's for their review when they're critiquing or editing or whatever they choose, and then it will go to the planning commission.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir?
I'm sorry, there's one thing I forgot to mention. We have a neighbor who about a year ago purchased a home, not too far from where I live. And when he went to the closing, actually before the closing, the real estate agent suggested to him to buy this home and rent it out. You can make a lot of money because it's right on the beach. He elected not to do that, thank God. But when he went to the closing, she brought all the papers to sign up so that the real estate agency could act as their agent and rent that house out. Now, if all the other municipalities around in the area have some kind of rule against these short-term rentals, and we don't, guess where all the short-term rentals are going to be? They'll come to our area because nobody's doing anything about it. That's the problem.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir?
Hey, Dan. What's the reason that the planning commission doesn't want to address it? You're on planning, aren't you, John?
Right.
What's the reason?
Well, first off, let me say, it's not that we're not addressing it. We've discussed it, okay?
Yeah, for 3 years, I know.
Yes. And like I said, the first several times Gary's come in, and the complaints have always been listed in the zoning individually rather than a group as short-term rental. All right?
Not all of them.
Well,
You can say the trespassing, the noise, all that is under there. Yep, you're right. We can eliminate all of those with one thing. We don't need to bother the police every time there's an infraction there, and every week or every 3 days, we've got different people doing the same infractions. So all they do, go out, they warn them, they go on their way, we get another set. We can eliminate this with just enforcing the zoning. And I'm just curious, because there's something that's not being said. Why isn't it being addressed?
well, it is.
Yeah, but not as short-term zoning, short-term rentals. You're trying to get around that for some reason. Is
It
it
is.
because we want these things in this township?
It was discussed last month,
It
or
was.
this month, I should
It was
say,
discussed at
and
this
the
past
previous
meeting.
month.
Yes.
What was the result?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that there is a firm, hard result as of yet. If we want, I'm not saying we don't want to. If we unanimously decided, okay, let's do this, it's still gonna take several months before it's done. Okay? This isn't something that you,
No, I started this 3 years ago.
yeah,
I even gave you a copy of the zoning ordinance that could address all these things and still make it available to some of these people to do short-term rentals. And it's gone nowhere.
we probably would not rewrite the zoning every time somebody came in with a problem, or it'd be a perpetual ongoing affair. Now, if you were here 3 years ago and presented an issue, that doesn't mean that we're gonna make an ordinance for the issue that you present.
But what happened was, a letter was sent by Manistee Township to these people to cease and desist. Nothing happened. It continued. So what you're saying is, the letter you sent had no teeth in it. You weren't planning on doing anything. That was just to appease us at the time.
Well, then let me ask you, if there was an ordinance and a letter was sent, what would be done then?
There was no ordinance at the time.
I understand that.
But it's a violation of our zoning. The Supreme Court came down with that decision here in June.
Okay.
It's pretty cut and dry.
We might ask you the same question. What would you do about it? I mean,
Well,
if
it
it's a
winds,
township ordinance,
it
and
winds,
you violate it, you know, if you drive down the street and break the law, the cop hands you a ticket. I want you to have a nice day, but here, nothing happens. That's the problem.
Well, it's obvious this has come to the forefront, and it's taken a long time, and I'm listening to this, and I understand the discontent with what's happened, which is obviously not enough, and we would like to continue this discussion with the planning commission and to ask them to pursue this further.
Your next question is what? Sorry, I didn't understand.
We'll ask the planning commission to pursue this
You will.
maybe more aggressively and further and more aggressively.
All right, we would appreciate that.
And I just had one comment. I know John said the change of zoning ordinance, we're not changing it. We want to just enforce the existing ordinance. Okay, so we're not looking to change our zoning ordinance, just to enforce the existing one. Now, there's places within the township where these short-term rentals would be permissible under a special use. So I don't know why that would not be an issue. Because we're really not looking to change any ordinance, but just enforce the existing one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jim?
One quick question, Dennis. The township recently took action against the property owner for a burned-down house. They went to court to take legal action against the owner to clean the property up. Is that correct?
Yes.
How long did that take?
6 months.
6 months, I believe.
So within 6 months then, you should be able to stop their zoning violation. Is that what you're saying? You should be able to take the same court action you took against that guy with a burned out house. You should be able to do the same thing with the zoning, and you should be able to do the same thing with the junkyard, and that's me. You have the right to come in on that property next to me with the junk vehicles and bring somebody from the EPA in there if you want, to inspect that property and see if there's an environmental hazard there. You can go in there and do that, I can't. But you can take the legal action to resolve the issue for those people and myself and anybody else with a zoning issue. Your zoning is on the books. You need to enforce it. Thank you, that's all I have to say.
Anyone else? County Commissioner?
Nice to see a large audience, but not great circumstances, but at any rate, let me give you a quick brief of our August county board meeting. Things that are pertinent anyways. Planning department, we keep having a need to expand that because we've got 8 contracts under current from different municipalities and local units. We've also just signed on Onekama. We're going to have a contract in place for about $32,000 for zoning administration along with enforcement, and also I believe Dennis, help me out here, for the topicals for the, that's coming out. Help me with that term. What the heck am I looking for here?
I don't know.
Floodplain.
Oh,
Floodplain administration. We also are going to be doing for about $15,000 with Arcadia Township as also. So that we've got to add some staff in there to maintain that and keep it moving forward. But that has also helped a lot in economic development across the plain, no doubt. Matt McCauley zoomed in, and we had a annual presentation from him with Networks Northwest. There's about $270,000 of grant money that's coming down the pipe out of the feds for local businesses to access. They've been involved with that along with the chamber trying to, and they had to score that out to see who was going to receive that. And I think a maximum amount, I don't know if it's 20 or 30,000, I did not write that number down, but it's a substantial amount. We also authorized the veterans budget, total budget's around $52,000. That's been ongoing, and for those that are not aware, the Veterans Office is at the Dial-A building on the corner there by the public, what was the public restrooms. I've had some discussions with Eric Sullivan about possibly doing something else other than being there, but at the moment he says it's been working extremely well. And he is doing some county outreach. He's going to other townships throughout the county 1 day a month. They've started that process, and it's been good. He's been contacting a lot of people. There's like 2,500 veterans in the county, and they've been averaging about 67 per month that they've been assisting. During the meeting, we also had an interview with Mr. Mike Dunkel from out in Oregon. He originated from the Hope Lake area, Prudenville, and he was applying for the position, and we interviewed him at the meeting via Zoom. Had a tremendous interview. However, we did not hire him. We wound up hiring Lisa Segal. Everybody here probably knows Lisa. She's a Hornco, and she's done a fantastic job for the county throughout this entire, it's been a trying situation, obviously, without having an administrator, number one, and then going the pandemic. It was a trying few months. She's really done an excellent job. You folks asked about the possibility of buying an SUV from the Sheriff's Department for the fire department, correct?
I didn't, no.
Well, I think we
Maybe the fire chief.
might have been, yeah. At any rate, we're going to go through the bidding process because we kind of almost have to.
Sure.
So we do have 2, they're for sale, and I don't know what the status on that is as of right now, but they are there, I believe, and available. Last time I passed there. We also passed a resolution for Healthcare Workers Month. Dennis, you were at the same meeting I was at with the Friends of Orchard Beach State Park. I was successful in getting a letter from Congressman Bergman, support. Also, the county board passed a letter for me to sign as chairman supporting that operation, so they have a little more weight in their grant applications. We also are going to be a pass-through for community development block grants, and that can help a lot of businesses throughout the area we can be the fiduciary for them. And that will help assist them in their growth. There is a demolition derby coming to the fairgrounds, September 26th. I believe it's a state championship. Now, we haven't done much up there at all, but they said the maximum they will have in the stands, it's supposed to be able to seat up to 1,300. The maximum they're gonna have is 500. And they get 500, they said that's it, gates closed, period. They'll have sanitation stations. They've done it in a couple other locations, once, at least once in Cadillac, and they had a couple of fair board members that went there and said it worked very well. So it's up to the fair board to make that decision, but obviously with this stuff going on, we had a little influence there, and we said, yeah, go ahead and give it a go.
Jeff, on that subject, there's rumors going around that the fairgrounds is for sale.
It is not for sale. To say we wouldn't sell it, I wouldn't tell you that, but it is not for sale. It's not being
And I think
listed.
this rumor was generated over a problem with the 4-H people. You aware of
Well,
that?
I can tell you, and you've heard me say it before, we've had a lot of issues. The fairgrounds use has been minimal over the last several years. You know, we've all seen the fair from when we were kids to what it has been. I mean, we all know that the attendance is down severely. The amount of people that are involved in that ag aspect of it is not what it once was. The questions you have to ask yourself, I went to a fair board meeting last year, and I said, as a commissioner, I look at it as an asset. And what is going to be the best use for that asset? And if we can't make it a viable fairgrounds, you know, what other things can we do with it? And it's been a struggle for everybody up there.
So it was just a rumor.
I can tell you, let's put it this way. It's not listed, so from that aspect, it is a rumor. To say it would never be sold, it depends on the board that's seated at the time and what could happen. But again, what is the best use of that asset, that public asset?
Thanks.
We did adopt a budget, $11,765,227, and that is a $411,000 shortfall and some change. Now, if we get the grants that are supposed to come in from the feds and the state, that will wipe out that. And we can't do this for more than 2 years, because we do that, our fund balance is going to be low. So that's the beginning of the hit of the COVID. And what else? I think that's probably about it for me. Personal note, because I don't know if I'm going to be here next month or not. October, I generally make it to the October meeting, but I am running for re-election. I've been your county commissioner for nearly 15 years in 2 different runs, and I enjoy serving. I thoroughly enjoy it. I put in a ridiculous amount of time, and appreciate anybody's support. This is one of the elections where I actually have a challenge. So anyway, that's kind of my personal note and campaign.
Any questions for the commissioner? Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Karen, were you going to give a report on the zoning office?
Yes.
Thank you. You guys can come in now. Shut the door behind you, it's cold up there. Please.
Okay. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
So, there were no new written complaints. The fire damaged home on Miller Road is now owned by the county and is up for tax sale. Guy has discussed options with Richard on what to do, and Richard will be writing a letter to the county requesting them to clean up the property. There were 2 land use permits issued. One special land use permit was requested for Lane King. Memory detailing that used to be downtown. He's relocating into the township. He has submitted a site plan and will be relocating Parkville Avenue, that's across from H&R Block. The Planning Commission has already set a public hearing for him, which will be the next regularly scheduled meeting, October 7th at 6:30. There were 24 requests for construction permits. And then the site of the alleged car repair shop on 31, Guy sent them a letter, and that appears to be cleaning up as well. He is still working with the property owner on McNitt Road, and the owners need to petition to have that old McNitt right-of-way abandoned. They need to take care of that. The Part 41 wastewater expansion system has been submitted to ECO and is in process. That's for Maple Ridge Manor. And then Richard and Guy are working on the sewer amendment between the tribe and the township to expand the service area. Again, that's for Maple Ridge Manor. The Planning Commission and Rob Carson and Mike Zacola met for a work session August 26th for the master plan. And then again at the last Planning Commission. They've been making a lot of progress on that master plan, putting in a lot of work. And then short-term rentals, like I said, the Planning Commission has decided to draft a letter to all the property members and supply them with a copy of the noise ordinance and parking requirements. And that's
Thank
it.
you. Any questions for Karen in the zoning office and building office? Chuck, you got anything going on across the street?
Yeah, actually, August was a pretty busy month for us. We had a total of 42 different calls, fire related were 5, 30 medical related, 7 were station trainings and meetings, and then the officers had 67 hours. Complaint hours was 106 complaint hours roughly for the month of August. 131, the chassis in South Haven now, so we're going to be setting up a date to go down and get with Steve down there at Spencer and go over the chassis and the apparatus body and make sure everything's lined up where it should be. It should all go together. So new truck's taking some time, but it's finally coming together. 133, the hydraulic cab was repaired for when we replaced the hydraulic fluid. We had an issue with the cab that's been repaired. They were still waiting on some fuse for the cab lift. They got that in. The fellows should be here tomorrow to finish that up. And then Monday we're going to be doing pump testing at the station. And then October 9th we'll be doing hose testing. Location to be determined. The station, everything well. The station, just an update on some of the 50/50 grant. We're working with the revenue sharing grant from the association with Mark Carney, the new chief of city fire. We'll be ordering it after October 1st. Due with COVID, they pushed the date back for us, but we have to wait until October 1st because of the fiscal year. And then also revenue sharing grant money, we received about half of our Swiftwater water rescue gear that we ordered through revenue sharing. And then other revenue sharing for the lights on the ladder. We got all the correct lights in. We just finished putting the lights on Tuesday night on the ladders. Those are all installed. The lights they sent us that were incorrect should be there by now. So that's all being taken care of. No word on the AFT grant with the city, us and Byler.
Wasn't there an expiration on that?
It should be coming up pretty soon. Chief Colzer was working on it.
Yeah, how long ago was that applied for? You remember?
First of the year. First of the year. Who knows about it?
Yeah, I know that.
And then Chief Cameron's trying to catch up on everything where Colzer left off, so he's a busy guy. And then for personnel, we're still looking at a couple candidates. And then we did get all the paperwork in for Joe Circa. He's all set to go, so we can do the official thing tonight. That'd be great. As far as training, we continue with driver's training just about every time we get out, get a chance to. We've done fire streams, rapid intervention operations, pump offs on 131, truck checks, and then we went over some of the water rescue equipment that we did receive. and then some JAWS training. And then we just found out 2 days ago, there's an EMR course being held at West Shore again, at the college. I'm trying to get the schedule and costs. We do have one person, Dave Peak, that's interested, but he's got to see if he can get his schedule changed, so we'll talk more about that next month. And then for August, for medical calls, Sam had 19 out of 30, Gordon had 13, myself, Dan Lisk at 8. July, Sam, Jim, Dave, and Dave, or excuse me, Sam, Jim, Ari, Dave, Pete, myself at 8 calls, 8 hours, and Gordon Grant, Jim Emerson at 7. Steve Shelby at 6, and just good shout out there for Sam at 19 of those calls. He just wanted to beat Gordon. That was his game plan. And then as far as the ISO update, where Eric that we met with from the ISO, he's still waiting for our pump testing and our hose testing, which the last time we had the ISO rating, it was a 6.9, and the previous time, this time it's now, we're currently at a 5 and a 5Y, which is pretty good for a rural area. And we're really close to a 4, the lower the number, the better for your insurance. So we're hoping all the stuff that we've done over the last 5 years will hopefully hit that 4 mark. So we'll keep you posted. If you're over 5 miles from the station though, it unfortunately doesn't count. So we're trying to work on, that leads me to, we're going to be talking with like Onekama, East Lake, Strong Lake, different folks around the lake because of the bridge is going to be closed December 1st. Onekama was interested in doing automatic aid with us, so that should cover some of those folks that are outside of our 5-mile radius. But also, when that bridge is closed, we won't have East Lake being able to come across directly. So it's going to be closed for a year, so it's going to be quite the difference for a while.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, kind of working on was Make Works. Karen's been working with myself and Sam and the architect for keeping up on the drawings and stuff to make sure all the fire department connections are in the right places and stuff like that. So luckily, staying ahead of the curve, because otherwise we had to pull about 300 feet of hose. Now I have to pull about 75 feet, so that's awesome. So other than that, I think that's pretty much it.
Any questions? Thank you, fellas. Again, thanks for everything you guys do, and stay safe. Please pass our thanks on there over at the station.
We can do the motion now for a second.
Yep.
Or is that carved down?
No, we can do that right now. What's his first name? John? Joe.
Make a motion to include Joe Circuit on fire department commission.
I'll support that.
The move supported Joe Circa be appointed as a member of the Manistee Township Fire Department. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Carried. Rick, anything going on in your world?
I have one establishment in the township that has a violation that I'm taking care of. I'll have an update on that next month, but everybody else will be in compliance.
Okay. As far as the township update is concerned, Chuck addressed the fact that the chassis has arrived at Spencer Manufacturing. The Newland School roof is almost complete. It's not green as the people out there wanted, but it's black and it's almost done and it won't leak. Millark Road is completed. It was $3,625 over the projected cost. Lakeshore Road has been fog sealed and now it needs to be striped. There was a ribbon cutting ceremony up here, grand opening, whatever, for the pickleball courts last Saturday. There was a big turnout for that. That's all I got. Unless someone else has anything, you have anything? MCRC, Manistee County Road Commission update. M55, excuse me, very little of it is in our township, but M55, I'm gonna say it's east. Be very careful out by the old Tomaszewski farm, there's a huge drop in the road there. But they anticipate that to be done by September 19th. Highway US 31 between M55 and M22 is projected to start as early as the 21st of this month. They're going to put 1.5 inches of overlay on it. So watch for traffic in that area. That's all I have. The next item is the Friends of Orchard Beach State Park. You've received or in your package, you received a letter of support for the Orchard Beach State Park for their fundraising efforts to improve the playground out there. It's a very aggressive, very ambitious project that they're involved in. And they're only asking for a letter of support. Did you need a motion, or can we just send this on?
Dennis, I got a question
Okay.
pertaining to that night. If this playground is inside of the park, and obviously it will be, and if we have local kids, children, whatever, go in there and play, is that gonna force you and I to buy a park pass to go pick them up or to take them there now?
I would assume so.
Well, that's, I would think, kind of a downfall to that, is it not?
I don't know, there's playground equipment there now, John. I don't know how many local people do use it.
Well, I understand that, but it's just
This is part of the big plan, they wanna
move the shelter.
move the shelter house down there.
I understand that.
And then make the playground all one big complex. But I'm assuming that you would have to have one of these $10 or $11 stickers on your license plate in order to get there.
Yeah, I got.
Or park on the road and go through the fence, you know.
Yeah, I have no problem with a letter.
Well, I mean, it used to be done, you know, when the kids used to play baseball out there, that baseball diamond was used extensively. And they would park on the road and walk in, no one ever kicked them out every day. You want a motion?
Sure. I make a motion that we send the Friends of the Orchard Beach State Park a letter
I'll
of
support
the
it.
township.
Been moved, supported that we send a letter of support to the Friends of Orchard Beach State Park on their fundraising efforts. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Carried. Diane, can you give us the highlights of the upcoming election? What's going on? How much more confusing can it be? Seriously.
I don't know about highlights and confusing. I can tell you that we have an awful lot of absentee ballot applications, and we're still getting them, which is really good news. We are still only going to have 5 voting booths on November 11th. We're going to practice social distancing, so that being the case, we're going to have less than 15 people in this room, including the workers. People will need to wait outside for their turn to come in and sign in and go from station to station to vote. We'll be cleaning booths each time someone leaves the booth, and they'll go over to the tabulator and out this other door. So it will be a slow process to vote in person on election day. Our request for absentee ballots has topped 1,050, and they're still coming in, and there's still time to do more. There's a lot of concern in the media about ballots coming back, ballots not getting here, ballots not being counted. I just want to tell everyone and remind everyone that when you get your written ballot, vote the way you want to vote, put it back in the envelope, and put it in the secrecy sleeve, put it back in the envelope, seal it, sign it, and date it. It must be signed and dated. And then mail it back, if you wish. If you don't wish, Bring it to the hall, bring it to our hall. If you live in Manistee Township, bring your Manistee Township ballot to our hall. Put it in the drop box outside the door. And it'll go from there and be recorded and be ready for election day. Now, we don't open ballots ahead of time. All we do is make a note that Jim Smith returned his ballot. We go to Jim Smith's election file on the state voting site. You can go to michigan.gov/vote. Put your name and your information in. You can see what day we sent you an application to obtain a ballot. You can see the day that we received it. You can see the day that we mailed your ballot to you. And you can see the day that we received it back and recorded it and put it in the vault for safekeeping for the election. If you have questions in between, call us. That's what we're here for. Leave us a message. We will answer the questions the best that we can. It will be very busy. Please don't come see us on election day and ask us if we counted your ballot. We will count your ballot if you return it to us. It will
Diane,
get
you
done.
do get people at the window when they're paying taxes asking when early voting started.
We do not have our ballots yet. We are still taking applications, and we will take applications for absentee ballots up to and including the Friday before the election. We just can't mail them then. They must be picked up in person. Now, in terms of when we'll send out ballots, the ballots should be arriving between the 19th and the 24th of September. Once we receive those ballots, needless to say, we have several hundred to get out. We are already addressing envelopes and doing the labels, so we're ready to start folding and getting the ballots physically into the mail. I would expect we will have all of ours out by the 1st of October, if not before. Depends on when we get them. Anything else?
No, it sounds simple, but believe me, it's not.
It's a good process. We have a good system.
They do, all
We have a good
all your
system.
workers work very diligently to make sure, absolutely sure, that everyone has an opportunity to vote, whether they're in Timbuktu or across the street. You guys track them down. You remind me of my mother, she always knew that. The ORV ordinance, we've addressed that already with the gentleman over here. Anything else we need to address? Motion to pay the bills? I'll accept the motion.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills as presented and all the incoming with month August.
I second that.
September.
Well, they're August bills, aren't they
Right,
coming in
yeah.
first?
No one's coming in with September. Been moved supported, we pay the bills as presented, plus the outstanding as received in September. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Manistee County MTA meeting has not been scheduled. Manistee Township Zoning Board of Appeals, if there is one, will be here on October 6th at 6 p.m. Manistee Township Planning Commission is scheduled for Wednesday, October 7th at 7 p.m. here at the hall. And the next regular meeting of the Manistee Township Board is Thursday, October 8th, here at the Township Hall. Any other comment? Motion's in order.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Been moved, supported, we adjourn. All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Thank you very much.